Hi, Alex. I have a business mentor who is telling me that I should fake it until I make it. It sounds contrary to what you say on your YouTube channel, and I don't know who to trust. And so I wanted to hear your explanation for why you don't believe in that concept. What's up, everybody? Mosey Nation, rocking and rolling. My name is Alex Mosey if you're new to the channel. And we have a portfolio of companies that does about $85 million a year. All right, I make this channel because a lot of people are broken. I don't want you to be one of them. So welcome to Mosey Nation. All right, so to hit on this question, right? Should I fake it till I make it? This is something that is really close to home for me because it drives me absolutely bonkers. And so I'll tell you a quick story. And then we can go from there to illustrate the point. So this is probably 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago, somewhere in there. I was showing up to our first event of our licensees. All right, so we only had 28 licensees at the time, and this was the first event. All right, and as a side note, if you're curious why I have a mustache, this story will explain it to you. So I was so nervous the night before that for the 2-day event that we were going to have to provide value and all that kind of stuff, that I had this big beard, and so I shaved it off, and I was doing Wolverine, then mutton chops, then gunslinger, and then all the way I left down to a porn stash. And I look outside the bathroom, and I look at Layla, and I was like, "Hey, baby." And she cracked up and she was like, "Please don't do that." I looked back in the mirror and I cracked up and I was like, you know what? I'm doing it. I'm rocking the stash. And it was because I was so nervous and so stressed about this day tomorrow that I wanted to give myself a reason to not take myself so seriously, right? And so I was like, you know what? Worst case scenario, I'm going to die and no one's going to remember who I am anyways. So anyways, I show up the next day and I pull up, right, as we're pulling up to the hotel, which is where the event is, right? And we're pulling up in a Prius that has a dent in the side and a crack in the windshield. And one of the licensees comes up to me, and she says, because she's walking at the same time and sees us, so she stops and walks over, and she says, "Hey, I thought you were supposed to be rich." And you can imagine the terror, right? Because this is the imposter syndrome that I'm dealing with the night before, right? Now, mind you, at this point, I already had 6 gyms. We'd sold them, and then I'd already done 30 plus turnarounds, right? So I was very good at the thing that we're talking about, right? But I still remember the shock. But what I said next is the reason that I have always been transparent with my numbers when we do well, when we not do well, in terms of how we do our lifestyle, et cetera, all right? And so at the time, I was a cash millionaire. So $1 million in my bank account. Right? And I hadn't even started investing stuff yet. So side note, I think making sure you have the right sequence is important. But $1 million saved up in my bank account after taxes at this moment. And when she said this, I just remember thinking, I was like, oh my God, am I a fraud? And then the reality of my situation, not the fakeness of my situation, was what came forth to hold me strong in that moment. And I said, you should see my bank account, not my car. And I was like, you want to be rich, not look rich, right? She was like, yeah. And I was like, well, that's what I'm here to show you how to do. And then the rest of the event was awesome. And then all the people 2 weeks later, all the dudes had stashes without me saying anything. So I think they liked it. And then that is what gave birth to the stash, which has still been pervasive in many of the marketing things that we've done. All right. But here's the reason that I'm actually against the fake it till you make it. The first is that you, in the mirror at night, know that you're a fraud. I mean, and that's the biggest thing. At the end of the day, if you've heard anything that I've ever talked about, is that you have to have conviction in what you sell, right? And the thing at the very most that you are selling is you are selling yourself to yourself. And if you are lying to everyone else about how successful you are, then you're cheating, you're deceiving yourself. And that kind of integrity is very hard to recapture because the hardest person's respect to earn is your own, in my opinion. Right? Once you have your own respect, everyone else's respect comes pretty easily because they know that you respect you. And so I know this is deep stuff, but at the end of the day, entrepreneurship is a journey of beliefs, right? It's a journey about building your character and about acquiring skills. And the businesses are only a reflection or a manifestation of the internal changes that we've had or experienced as entrepreneurs, which is why I think entrepreneurship is the single greatest personal development path you can possibly go on. Here's some other reasons why I think this is stupid. And mind you, at the time when I had $1 million in my bank account, Layla and I were living together on $1,200 a month of rent and about $400-ish a month in food. So $100 a week in food, $1,200 a month in rent, and that's what we were living on. And we were taking home at the time $300,000 or $400,000 a month. All right. So just for context, I've never had a really expensive watch. The only really expensive thing that I've purchased that was a waste was a Bentley, which I actually already sold and gave it away. I'm sure I could come up with some sexy YouTube headline for that. But we just gave it back because I didn't need it and I didn't want it, and it felt like a waste and it felt contrary to who I am and what I believe in, right? And at the end of the day, if you decide what your values are first and you live your life in accordance with those values rather than what you think the world wants you to do, then you will be able to stand steadfast and strong in the face of adversity with full knowledge of who you are. And I think that the strength of that cannot be understated. I've said this quote many times in our communities and on this channel, which is, you must outwork your self-doubt. Right? If you feel like you are not confident, then you must outwork the things that you are insecure about. If you're like, man, I'm selling these services and I'm not sure if I'm that good at them, then do more of them and don't pretend. Honesty is one of the most compelling and convicting things for persuading people, right? Saying what you are good at and what you are not good at truthfully will win you far more followers and fans and loyal customers and loyal employees than pretending. Because at the end of the day, they can feel that you are disingenuous because they know that it is hollow. They know that on the inside, you do not believe the words that are coming out of your mouth. And that is how people speak without conviction, and they cannot sway others because they have not swayed themselves, because they have lost their own respect. And so I am not the believer in buying the Ferrari when you can't afford it. I am not the believer in affording the home and paying for the home that you cannot afford because you want to pretend like this is the lifestyle that you want to be around. If you go under the guise of networking, you can still go to those places without buying a $4 million house when you're barely making, a few $100,000 a year. It doesn't make sense. I like Jay-Z's quote around this, which is, if you can't buy something twice, don't buy it once. I really like that. And so this is one of the most common questions I get for newer entrepreneurs, because they think that they have to pose on Instagram in order to get wealthy. And what it does is it conflates sequence. Jeff Bezos is famous because of what he did, not because he became famous as Jeff Bezos and then used his following to build something. Elon Musk is famous for what he's accomplished, not for being Elon Musk and then creating something as a result, right? Let the actions be the thing that gives you the fame rather than yourself, right? At least that is Alex's 2 cents in my viewpoint on the world. And I think most of Mosey Nation, you guys share that belief with me. And for those of you who are new to this channel, you're going to get more of this type of stuff. And none of the fake it till you make it nonsense. That is a sure way to be broke. And I will tell you this as a last thing. The amount of people who in 2008, when everything crashed, who were faking it until they, quote, made it, just faked it until they lost it all. Because they lost what little amount that they had because they were so overextended. But I can tell you that just about everyone can become wealthy if you choose to live on less than you make. Right? And that is a ratio. Wealth is a ratio, not a number. All right. And so, anywho, if you are having struggles with this question, I would posit, I would beg of you that you build your own respect first, that you're honest with yourself first. And if you always maintain the integrity of, hey, last year we got smashed, right? This year we'll do a little bit better. And 2 years from now, when you do even better than that, you can be truthful and people will believe you. But if you always are telling a story about how you're always doing so well, A, everyone will hate you. B, no one cares. And C, you will know that you are full of it. And at the end of the day, I think that is the only thing that we're going to keep with us. And when we die, everyone's going to forget about us anyways. So you might as well at least enjoy yourself while you're alive. So anyways, keep being awesome, Mosey Nation. If you enjoyed this, hit subscribe. If you didn't, lots of love either way. Keep being awesome. I'll catch you in next videos. Bye.